off a cliff. It's brutal. Well, the good news is it reads my crappy shots pretty good.
All right, this is a one that a lot of people have asked for throughout the years, and this is the Trackman 4 Mevo Plus comparison. We're throwing in a little full swing kit as well. Let's get to it. So let's talk a little bit about the testing first here. So first off, I want to thank Whitetail Ridge and Director of Golf Alex Baylog for having me out. They're the ones that have a full swing kit and a Trackman 4. If you're interested in hearing more about the full swing kit, I will link that down below. That's something you're going to want to check out there, because when we go through the testing, here's what we did. All right. We put the 3 units side by side. Now I lined up the full swing as straight as possible, right? To dead center. So that one's kind of set up the best as we go. The Mevo Plus, we set it off to the left side because you know that it doesn't have club path and face, so I'm not really that worried about that part of it yet. So we are looking at trying to get just some reads on the speed, and we know as well that you can actually set it off a little bit for the putting, right? So there's a little bit of a bigger window there for it to look at and catch the ball. From there, we set the Trackman off to the other side because that has the biggest window where you can place the ball. And you don't actually have the unit dead center. You can just select where you want it in the target window and get it actually set. And so that was what we did, right? And so is it a perfect test? No, it's very difficult to get radars together and test them exactly how you want to. But what we also want to do is since we're testing mainly ball data here today and trying to see how accurate these units are with some of that, we're trying to get the ball read and get the same shot read. I don't want to hit different shots. I want to see if we can get the same shot and see what type of reads we are getting. So that was the testing process we went through. We had all the units set behind the ball at their recommended distances, which for everything was, you could go back to 10 feet with it. And so we also had 12 feet of flight here to have, so that's nice for the units because with the radar, the more flight, the better. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about what we find. And I'm gonna put in a few shots here so you can kind of just see and hear what we were doing as we go. I know some people are gonna want all the data. We can't show that all to you yet, okay? But we'll be doing some more testing here and more things we're looking at. I know a lot of people have some questions about some upcoming updates. So with that said, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I found. First off, out of the 3 units, there is a clear third place unit. Okay, and that's going to be the full swing kit. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about it beyond this, just because you can go watch the other video and hear all my thoughts on it. But as far as, reads and things seeming to kind of work, the slower the ball speed, it got a little better. But again, when you have 2 other units, especially in the radar world, the 2 kind of top brands that are working, and they are pretty close, and then this one's kind of all over. Sometimes it's reading long, sometimes it's reading short, sometimes the spin is okay, sometimes the spin is way short. It was just inconsistent. But again, we've talked a lot about why that could be in the indoor environment. So that's the clear third place. Now let's get on to the other 2 units as we go. So wanted to test it out. You have a couple of things that are going on with these units. So one, you have obviously Trackman 4. You're coming in at $25,000. Plus you're going to be paying for having the updates and all that stuff. You have to keep the unit under warranty, typically around $1,000 a year for that. You do get software. Their simulator software is awesome. Jack Nicklaus Perfect Golf, they bought them out and use it. And it was awesome. I used to play it all the time and thought it was the best. So it's a great software for that. The unit is very, very big. Which to me, it's thin. It wouldn't be that big of a deal for me, I would think. But if you're going to travel with it all the time, it is very big. So it has that, but it has dual radars in it. So you have a radar that is tracking club data. You have a radar that is tracking ball data. I think that is a massive thing. That's what you see in other radars as well, like fusion tracking and ball data, right? So I think that's something that I'm excited to see what happens with Mevo Plus. But with what we currently have, I was just interested again seeing what kind of differences there would be. So had Alex hit shots first. Now, Alex hits the ball a lot longer than me. He hits his 5-iron approximately 240 yards in the air, and he can hit his driver well over 300 yards. You know, his club speed's, in that 120, 121 range. And I'm in the high 105 to 1, can get it up to 112, 113 on a good day. So with Alex, when he was hitting balls, what we started to see was once you kind of cross about the 220 yard threshold, the units, this is where the units started to separate out. Okay. You would see the ball flight of his unit, right? The Trackman 4, we would actually see the smash be up, and then the Mevo Plus, the smash would not quite get up there. So what I would see is, like, he would hit a 5-iron. Trackman would read 1.44 on smash. On Flight Scope Mevo Plus, it would read 1.39. Spins, if it got the ball, they were pretty close. Obviously, Trackman gets the ball more, but on the estimated spins, it was low. That could be an issue. If there's not enough spin, the ball would dive out of the air. It wouldn't stay in the air. You need some spin to be able to keep the ball airborne. So that's a little bit of something to think about. But I just think in general, at the higher speeds, this is where we need a separate tracking. It's very difficult to track that higher speed and then see the ball flight and be able to kind of put it all together from one tracking system. That's kind of the feeling I kind of got from what we were looking at. Now, from there, driver, if Alex kind of did some cut shots, things like that, and brought things down, actually numbers got really, really close. Again, once you kind of came under 220 yards, things really got a lot closer. And that's what I was kind of thinking, and what I was seeing is it's even harder a little bit to see the spin. And we were using an RCT ball, but we'd still get some low spin reads at that high ball speed. Now, when I came up to hit, and I was hitting 7-irons, and I hit some drivers. Again, when I hit driver, even my driver, because I'm at a little bit lower ball speed, it wasn't too far off as we were going. It's still a little bit farther apart than what Trackman was giving, but as far as like club speed, it was actually pretty close on club speed numbers. It just isn't getting that ball speed at those higher ball speeds to match up 100%. So again, I'm excited to see what happens when we get the dual tracking. Now, when I was hitting anything less than driver, basically, when I'm bringing that ball speed down and I'm bringing that yardage down, I was super, super impressed with what the Mevo Plus did. Actually, pretty much every single shot, and again, this is with an RCT ball, every single shot was within about a half a yard to a yard as far as the carry distance. Sometimes the Mevo Plus will be about a half yard or yard longer, half yard or yard shorter. Sometimes they'd be within 0.2. They would be right on the money. It was actually extremely impressive anytime we started going down into the irons and going into like wedges and stuff like that. The spin was within 100 RPMs almost every single shot. I actually don't think there was a shot that was less than 100 RPMs or more than 100 RPMs, I should say, off on the spin. So it was extremely accurate there. So for me, on the lower end of the range, that's awesome. I did see the ball flights. Again, we didn't have everything perfectly set up, but it did kind of show some of the same shapes. But take that with a grain of salt. Again, our setup can't be 100% how I would like it with having multiple radars. When we do some further testing, we probably are going to try it out a little bit with going one shot and have one unit set up, one other unit set up, just because of how we want to get some of the other data. But very, very happy on that front. Again, where do I think you're getting your money with a $25,000 unit to a $2,000 all-in unit, right? There's a little bit more tracking power to these devices. That's going to be a big, big help, in my opinion, for the higher ball speeds. You are also going to get a little bit more consistent in the spin reads, things like that. Again, RCT ball does a pretty good job, but Trackman just takes it kind of to a whole nother level. Again, I think stuff you got to think about if you're getting a device. Hey, is that stuff worth it to you for those higher end launch monitors? For me, most of the work I do is in learning yardages, learning how to gap yardages. I don't gap my driver. I just literally try to hit it as far as possible. And then when I go out and play, I'll figure out lines, stuff like that. I do all that work on course. That's a reason you have a ton of guys using quads and things like that. Is one, I think space requirements that are on a range, right? For a tour range, you don't always have 10 feet behind you with everybody walking and all that, but it's also a lot easier to take on the course and set it up and hit your lines and stuff like that. So I think they're doing a lot of that stuff on course work with it. But the other thing that you're going to be able to do is, with these higher end monitors, you're going to be able to just, see how far everything's going on that long end. But you have to decide, is that worth a price tag of, 12, 13 times and plus a yearly fee to be able to do that? So that's what I saw with it. Again, you saw some of the shots as we went through. We'll have more data and stuff doing comparisons. We'll be back out again if we learn anything about Full Swing. I didn't talk about him. Full Swing was just kind of just out of the game, in my opinion. But, we even kind of just started disregarding it towards the end because it was just uninspiring. But again, I'll talk about that in the other previous video, so go check that one out if you want to learn more about the Full Swing kit. But anyway, that's a lot of people are asking it, seeing what my thoughts are on it. That's it. And again, pretty impressed with the $2,000 unit and what it's been able to do, and especially I think what it can help people do to get better at golf. I think that's a really, really positive thing for it. So anyway, if you have questions about it, please comment down below. If you have questions for future videos, I know what people have questions about, Pro Package, stuff like that. That will hopefully be coming soon. So we'll see about that. And please let me know. And thanks as always for watching. Click that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already. We'll see you in future videos. Peace.